Something is happening to you right now, not tomorrow, not when you think you're ready, right now. And before this message ends, you're going to understand why the ground beneath your feet started shifting without you asking for it. Stick with me until the end, because before we finish, you're going to receive 3 signs that confirm you're the target of this movement and what to do from today with the process that's already in motion. Suddenly, everything is going to change. And when it does, you'll understand why it took exactly as long as it did. You woke up this morning early, before anyone else. You stood in front of the mirror for a second longer than usual, and you looked at yourself with a question that doesn't have words yet. It's not despair. It's not weakness. It's a feeling that the person staring back at you doesn't belong anymore to the place where you're still standing. You tried to name it. You couldn't. At night, while everyone else was asleep, you did that silent inventory. The mental list of what still hasn't arrived, what's still pending, what you thought would have been resolved by now. And the silence of the room amplified every item. You stared at the ceiling and stayed quiet, because you no longer knew what to ask for. You saw other people moving forward. Not with anger, not with jealousy, with a confusion deeper than that. An honest question. What am I doing wrong? What do they know that I don't? Why does it seem easier for them? And the answer didn't come. The silence returned, and there was that day when someone asked how you were doing. And you picked up your phone, typed, "I'm fine," hit send. But your hand was trembling slightly while you did it. Not from fear, from exhaustion of keeping the facade intact while inside, the ground was shifting in a way you still didn't have a name for. If you recognized any of those scenes, hit that like button as your public amen right now. Heaven records what you confess openly. Hit like. You're not falling apart. You're being moved. And there's a huge difference between those two things. I need you to stay here with me until the end of this message. Because what I'm about to deliver is going to make everything you've felt in recent months take on a different name than the one you were using. You seek. You dedicate yourself. You do everything right, and yet abundance never comes. And the worst part, you start wondering if you're doing something wrong, if you're being heard up above, if it's meant for you at all. It's not a lack of faith or worthiness. It's a spiritual blockage that ordinary prayer alone cannot break. The Miracle Journal unblocks this in 21 days with a spiritual protocol that works exactly where your prayer doesn't reach. Along with the journal, you'll also receive as a gift the prayer guide and the Psalms manual with the most powerful sacred practices and texts to deepen your transformation. To claim your version of the journal, tap the link in the comments right below this video. Felt in recent months take on a different name than the one you were using. First promise. What you're experiencing as instability is actually me removing you from an environment that can no longer contain who you're becoming. The discomfort is not a sign that you took the wrong path. It's a sign that the right path is already underway. Second promise. Before this message ends, you're going to receive the Conscious Relocation Protocol with 3 concrete moves that will align you with the destiny already in motion. It's not theory. It's action. Third promise. At the end, you'll be able to declare out loud something you haven't been able to say in recent months. You'll be able to say, "I'm not lost. I'm being led." I placed you here because this word is for you. Not by accident, not by algorithm. You arrived here because what's about to be said needs to reach you today. Close your eyes for a second. Take a deep breath. What I'm about to show you won't work if your attention is divided. I want to show you the signs. The signs that divine relocation is already happening in your life. It's not going to happen. It's already happening. First sign. Old relationships cooling without any apparent argument. You didn't have a fight with that person. You didn't do anything wrong. But when you try to maintain the same level of closeness, it feels like the conversation hit a wall and won't go any further. You called it distance, neglect, something you could have done differently. That's not it. I'm repositioning who enters the next phase with you. Not every person you've loved was called to walk forward with you. Some connections have a mission expiration date. And when the mission ends, the distance isn't betrayal. It's completion, second sign. Physical discomfort in environments that used to feel comfortable. That place you used to go to and felt at home. That group you belonged to and felt safe. That routine that gave you stability. And suddenly, without any specific event, it started to feel tight. You called it ingratitude, emotional instability, you being difficult. That's not it. Your spirit is signaling that space is no longer the correct address. The discomfort isn't the problem. It's the compass. Third sign. Dreams about places you've never been. A feeling of belonging to a context that still has no visible form in your life. You wake up with the impression you were somewhere real, but you can't locate it on a map. You called it a meaningless dream, a tired mind. Coincidence? I'm showing you the destination before your mind can name it. Heaven reveals first. Life confirms later. You've already seen the address. You still don't recognize the street. Fourth sign. An inexplicable pull toward new areas of knowledge, toward people from contexts that weren't yours, toward geographies you'd never considered before. An interest that came out of nowhere. A conversation with someone different that stuck in your head. A desire to learn something that still doesn't make sense. You called it distraction, escape, lack of focus. That's not it. Your internal compass is recalibrating for the next territory. The interest isn't coincidence. It's coordinates. The next sign is the hardest one to hear. It's the one the enemy spent the most time trying to make you ignore. Fifth sign. A sudden stillness. After a lot of internal noise. After a long time with a racing mind, with unanswered questions, with anxiety about what comes next. One day you wake up and you're quiet. Not happy, not with emotional certainty. Quiet, and you were afraid that this stillness was resignation, that it was surrender disguised, that it was depression with a pretty name. That's not it. It's heaven signaling that something has been settled without needing your participation. This stillness is the sound of the decree being sealed. The enemy tries to tell you that faith is loud, that commitment is agitation, that someone who is still has given up. But I tell you, this peace that doesn't need an explanation to exist is the confirmation that the relocation is already finalized in the spiritual realm. You're still seeing in the natural. Heaven has already closed it in the supernatural. If any of these signs reached you, write free in the comments right now. Free, because that's what's coming. Close your eyes for a second. Take a deep breath. What I'm about to tell you won't work if your attention is divided. There's a man in the Bible who received a calling without an address. God said, "Leave your country, your relatives, your father's house, to the land I will show you." He didn't name the land. He didn't give the map. He didn't explain the route. He just said, "Leave. To where? To where I will show you." Well, Abraham got up, took his wife, his possessions, the people who were with him, and left. The text says he left without knowing where he was going, without GPS, without emotional confirmation that he was right, without a visible destination, only with the conviction that the one who had spoken was real. And he arrived. Not because he had the map, because he had the word. Now think about a different image, a ship leaving the harbor in dense fog. The captain can't see more than 50 feet ahead. Someone on the dock yells, "Wait for the fog to clear." And the captain doesn't wait. Not because he's reckless, because he looks at the instruments inside the cabin and they're confirming the route. The GPS, the compass, the radar. He doesn't need to see the horizon because the internal instruments have already confirmed that the destination is real. The fog doesn't cancel the route. It just tests the trust in the instruments. Both Abraham and the captain had one thing in common: the conviction that the destination was more real than the haze in front of them. One had a word. The other had calibrated instruments. Both moved forward without full emotional clarity. Both arrived. Are you Abraham? Or are you the captain? Write it in the comments. If you left without seeing the destination, write Abraham. If you're sailing by internal instruments, even in the fog, write captain. Both arrived. You will too. Let me stop for a full minute. You've already gone through a cycle that was no longer yours. And you survived. That's no small thing. The external signs of change were already present in your life before any conscious decision on your part. The feeling of being out of place isn't failure. It's evidence that the right place is elsewhere. And the relocation didn't start when you noticed it. It started earlier, in heaven. Before you had a name for what you were feeling, the movement had already been decreed. What you're about to hear isn't a human title. It isn't the result of performance. It's what I call you when I speak to heaven about you. Every time you tried to fit where you didn't belong and heaven prevented it. Every time you pushed a door and it wouldn't open. Every time a connection cooled without you understanding why, I saw. And I was protecting the territory that is yours so you could reach it whole. Here's who you are within all of this. You are a carrier of new territory. It's not a title you need to earn. It's what you already are. I saw every time you tried to fit where you didn't belong. Every environment that rejected you. Every group that didn't welcome you the way you expected. Every place where you felt you were too much, not enough, different, out of place. I wasn't abandoning you in those moments. I was preserving you for the territory that isn't at that address. You don't fit where you were, because the place that's yours has a different size. What seemed like rejection was redirection. This identity authorizes you to stop interpreting every closed door as failure. From now on, a closed door is a corrected route. You are a phase pioneer. A pioneer isn't someone who knows the path before setting out. A pioneer is someone who moves forward without a map and opens the path for those who come after. I saw the courage it cost to keep moving when there was no visible evidence that the movement was right. I saw the nights when you stood still but didn't retreat. I saw when you could have given up and you didn't. Not because it was easy, because somewhere inside you there was a certainty that still had no name. This identity authorizes you to stop asking for permission to move forward from people who weren't called to this phase. It's not arrogance, it's obedience. Whoever wasn't called to the next territory has no authority to approve your entry into it. You are a climate carrier. Wherever you've been, the atmosphere changed. Not because you tried to change it, because your presence alters what it encounters. I saw this. I saw how conversations shifted when you walked in, how the weight lifted in some environments just because you arrived, how some people felt safer, clearer, more whole when you were near. You minimized this. You called it coincidence. It's not. It's what you carry. This identity authorizes you to stop underestimating your influence in environments. From now on, you enter knowing you alter what you encounter. Not by effort, by presence. Right now, the name of the identity you just recognized: carrier of new territory, phase pioneer, or climate carrier. Write it in the comments. And if you're not yet subscribed to this channel, subscribe now, because what comes next is for those who decided to stay. Now we've reached the most practical part of this message: the conscious relocation protocol. This protocol has 3 steps. They're not steps for you to force the process. They're steps for you to align with the process that's already underway. Step 1. Verbally release the old address. It's not pretending it never existed. It's not erasing what was good. It's naming out loud what has been left behind and declaring the release. The environment you were in. The relationship that fulfilled its cycle. The version of yourself that was necessary in that time and is no longer what you are. You're going to say out loud, I release the old address. I honor what was. I move forward to what is. Step 2. Identify the signs that are already active in your life. Grab paper and pen right now. Or open your notes app. Of the 5 signs I showed you, write down the ones that are already present. Turn the invisible into concrete evidence. When you write it, you're telling your own nervous system, this is real, this is happening, I have proof. Step 3. Position your body in the new address. A physical step. Concrete. Today, visit a place that belongs to the next phase. Get in contact with a person who belongs to the next territory. Start something, anything, that belongs to what comes next. Relocation has a physical component. Heaven moves, but the body needs to confirm the direction. Take one step today, not tomorrow. Today. The confirmation sign that the protocol has been received isn't enthusiasm. It's not emotional certainty. It's not euphoria. It's stillness. A peace that doesn't need noise to exist. When that peace comes, you'll know it was received. If you're receiving this protocol, write received in the comments right now. Received. In the next 72 hours, 3 things will be launched against you. Not as a possibility, as a certainty. I want you to know the name of each one before they arrive. First tactic, strategic nostalgia. It will arrive disguised as loyalty, gratitude, common sense. It will make you feel that moving forward is abandonment, that moving on is betrayal of what was. You'll feel an intense longing for what was before. It's not a legitimate memory. It's an anchor. The enemy will use the past as a rope to tie you to what God has already closed. Loyalty isn't staying. Sometimes, loyalty is obeying the order to leave. Second tactic, false urgency. It will arrive as pressure, as the feeling that you're already past your time, that others have already arrived and you're still in the middle of the road, that you should have made a decision earlier. It will push you to act outside the right timing just to end the discomfort of the transition. Don't move because of urgency that didn't come from heaven. Divine relocation has heaven's timing, not anxieties. Third tactic, wrong company. People who belong to the old cycle will start talking louder. They'll call. They'll show up. They'll offer exactly what you needed before. Not because it's right again, because the enemy knows you're at the turning point and is trying to anchor you to what God has already closed. Not every voice that resonates is the right voice. Discern the source before you hear the content. And there's an internal enemy that's more dangerous than all 3 combined. It's your own voice disguised as maturity. The voice that says the stillness of the protocol is a lack of faith. That real spirituality would have more noise. That the peace you're feeling is complacency. It's not. It's the fruit of the decree being executed. Don't trade peace for agitation just because someone told you faith has to be in a hurry. Write protected in the comments right now. Protected. The decree has been sealed. Place your open hand on your knee right now. Not closed. Open. Posture of receiving, not holding. There's a weight you've carried for a long time. The weight of trying to make sense of a process that I never asked for your understanding to execute. You kept trying to understand what wasn't designed to be understood beforehand. You kept trying to translate into logic what only makes sense in faith. You can let that go now. The relocation doesn't need your understanding to move forward. It only needs your willingness. There's an identity you've carried that's ready to be surrendered. The identity tied to the place left behind. To the people who belong to the previous cycle. To the version of you that was necessary in that time. You are no longer that person. Not because it was bad, because it was fulfilled. Letting go isn't erasing. It's respecting what was and honoring what is. And there's a shame. The shame of not having arrived yet. Of still being in transit. Of looking around and seeing others already at the destination while you're still in the process. You can let that go now. You're not late. You're not lost. You're in transit. And transit isn't failure. Transit is the road between two destinations. That morning when you stood in front of the mirror and no longer recognized where you were, I was there. I saw what you were feeling before you had words to name it. That moment when you picked up your phone, typed, "I'm fine," sent it with a hand that trembled slightly because you no longer knew how to explain what was happening inside. I saw every detail. And I want you to know, not one of those moments was invisible. Each one was seen. Each one was kept. Each one was part of what I was building without asking for your approval to continue. I saw when you tried to force belonging where I had already decreed departure. I don't condemn you for that. I understand how much it costs to let go of the familiar. But every door that didn't open was me protecting you from the wrong address. Every rejection was redirection. Every cycle that closed was preparation for what opens now. You're not late. You're exactly where you need to be to receive what has been prepared. What is yours wasn't given to anyone else. What is yours is waiting at the address you're being led to. Not by merit, by decree. And a decree doesn't depend on your emotional state to be executed. It depends on your willingness to keep moving. The new phase has a new place. It has new people. It has a new climate that will match who you're becoming, not who you were. And what looked like loss was actually space being cleared. Space for what fits who you already are now. I relocate you, not to where it's convenient, to where it's destined. There's a difference, and you'll feel that difference when you arrive. Say it out loud now, before you write in the comments. I am not lost. I am being led. Say it again. I am not lost. I am being led. It is done. What was delivered here has been delivered. Write "done" in the comments right now. Done. And if you have someone close who is also feeling the ground shift, who is in transition and doesn't have a name for what they're feeling, forward this message to that person right now. Not tomorrow. Right now. Because this message was made for someone who is exactly where they are. And if they want to go beyond what they received here, the link is in the first comment. Waiting just like destiny is waiting for you. The next video is already prepared with the continuation of what was planted here. Don't miss it. You are not the same person you were when this message began. You seek. You dedicate yourself. You do everything right, and yet abundance never comes. And the worst part? You start wondering if you're doing something wrong, if you're being heard up above, if it's meant for you at all. It's not a lack of faith or worthiness. It's a spiritual blockage that ordinary prayer alone cannot break. The Miracle Journal unblocks this in 21 days with a spiritual protocol that works exactly where your prayer doesn't reach. Along with the journal, you'll also receive as a gift the prayer guide and the Psalms manual with the most powerful sacred practices and texts to deepen your transformation. To claim your version of the journal, tap the link in the comments right below this video.